Today we're going to go over the PvP build and the guide that you need to know if you're playing ARROWGOD, aka the Archer build in Legend of Mushrooms. So let's just get straight into it. Hello everyone, yes, smash like, comment and subscribe for more daily videos from me, MrSneakyy, the one and only official Legend of Mushroom content creator and sponsored with Aptoids. If you aren't using an AppCoins wallet, you can type in MrSneakyy, LOM over there in the top right corner and it will give you that 5% bonus when you are making any purchases in the game. If you are wondering what I'm talking about, they are in the description, just a couple of links. You can install the app and there is a video around here that might pop up if you want to click it and just showcases how to use and install the game and app. So, PvP, let's talk about PvP, the actual main thing you all clicked on the video for, right? And it's one of the aspects that a lot of players want to know, right? Because with PvP, you're gonna be able, right, to climb the cross-server ranked match. You can see I'm in Plat 1. Obviously, just before we start climbing into the diamond areas, obviously, you're gonna get more and more rewards all the time when you're climbing up these ladders. So it is important in order to do this. If you're in the master, look at that, over 1,000 every time you're doing cross server, and it's really good because with those obviously rewards, you're going to be spending it in the shop, right, to get those weekly awakening crystals. So it does matter, you do need it. I'm going to be buying mine at the end of this video so you can see it being used. So how do I play and how do I work my PvP build? I've kind of got my PvP build equipped right now in the background so you can kind of see it working in action just against the PvE content. But we're going to go down my build and I'm going to give you guys an early game build, talk about a few of the stats and obviously go into matchups, right? So when we're going into our skills, this is the main PvP build I run, right? So I run Smoke Bomb, Blitz Assault, Star Ray with Shroom Shield and I run Clone Strike. So I'm going to explain the reasoning why I go through all of these and then on top of it, I'm going to give you the alternatives you could use if you don't want to use any of these, but there's some that you honestly don't want to change, right? So the first one that you honestly need and you can't change is going to be Smoke Bomb. Smoke Bomb is one skill that is just insane. Increasing just the flat amount of damage that target takes by 30% is just so much more superior compared to all of the other options that you have, even when you're just trying to increase your attack by 15% or even using Windborne. I've tried to use Windborne as forever, but it is honestly getting outperformed every time by Smoke Bomb. Smoke Bomb just gives you a better debuff onto an enemy. So that's why I'm kind of been using Smoke Bomb over the Windborne Arrow. On top of this, what I have is the, I would call it healing trio now. It's the best combination in DPS and healing, which is Blitz Assault with Shroom Shield and Clone Strike, right? This is kind of like the big end game payoff. And the reason why we're running this triple setup is pretty simple. Clone Strike does the most amount of damage, hands down, in a skill. This thing is just absolutely bonkers when you have it. On top of it, it has 30% of your HP, so technically they need to kill the clone first before they get through to you. And if they can't kill the clone, it just showcases, obviously, there was a massive stat disparity between you both, which is obviously good in your favor, because you're most likely going to win the PvP. Shroom Shield and Blitz Assault, a lot of people might be curious to why I'm running both, right? And it's a very important reason. A lot of players only run Blitz Assault, and by only running Blitz Assault, you're going to have that damage immunity for 3 seconds, which is honestly really powerful, and it helps you out a ton, obviously, in the early game. And a lot of people don't run Shroom Shield, and they might run something like Wild Gust, or your Windborne, or even Blade Pierce, as a different alternative, as a more offensive option as a killer. However, one thing that a lot of people have actually probably forgotten about with Shroom Shield, which makes it such a good PvP skill and why I still use it to this day and why it's actually pushing me up against players I shouldn't be fighting is because it lasts for 10 seconds and it's giving you a 20% maximum HP shield. So what this means is when you start the combat, your immunity and your shield are both going to trigger at the same time, allowing you to have that 3 seconds of pure immunity, and then knowing the shroom shield lasts for 10 seconds, you know it's already going to be up. So as soon as that 3 seconds is gone, guess what? You've got that little bit of an extra shield, as you can imagine, to absorb the early brunt of damage, and it's going to allow you to hopefully win the trade in the long run, because with Clone Strike, Star Array, and Smoke Bomb, you honestly have enough damage output in your kit. You can obviously change Star Array if this is something you don't like, or should I say Worldly Snare. If you don't like Worldly Snare, that's something that's fine. You can change this to Blade Pierce, or maybe Windborne Arrow. You can even go for Wild Gust. These are all fine options if you want to go there. So that's my end game PvP build for you guys. And what I'm going to do is just showcase now the early game build, right? So if you're in the early stage, you don't have any of these skills, but you still obviously want to compete, what skills do you need, right? So obviously we're going to remove the pink out of the game because you wouldn't have any of the pinks, and we're going to just assume you have access to the red and obviously lower tier skills in the game. So what you can run in here is pretty simple. You're going to run the double healing combo, kind of like you're already running, just so any sort of damage that does leak through, any skill damage, AoE, you can shield, heal it through, and then you start the fight at maximum HP. But what I would run is your disarm. Disarm is such an important skill in PvP, especially for players, because with Disarm, it's going to honestly allow you to win a lot of the fights. And if you've noticed you're winning a lot of the fights and you feel you're not getting any value out of the Nature's Renewal, you can change this later down the line. That's kind of the beautiful thing about this build. But what you want to do for your final option, and this is the one that I run personally, and I thought this was the best choice when it comes to your actual skills, it is going to be easy breezy. This is a 5-second debuff. Obviously, with your relic, you can increase this even further, but it's going to reduce their attack by 20%, and in reducing that flat attack by 20% is a massive debuff on them. So even after, you know, you have completed the initial burst of the fight where the disarm's gone, the shield and the Nature's Renewal have done their job, the Tiki Breezy or Easy Breezy is going to make it so that you're going to survive a little bit longer. And obviously, they're at a big disadvantage. So that's kind of the route I would go if you're in the early phase, if you're playing Wind, well, the ARROWGOD or the Archer class. If you're playing Sniper, this is pretty much the exact same thing that I would be running as well on all case scenarios. So what we're going to do is just switch back to my actual build that we were running. And what I'm going to do is showcase this in action, right? I've got a couple of replays to show, and then on top of it, I am going to go into cross server. So earlier I did a couple of, you know, different fights just to showcase this off. You can see here Ninja Cat. Ninja Cat is weaker than myself, I will admit, and I can showcase that as well. But this is a weaker player, but it's going to showcase the effectiveness of it, right? The fact that I'm not taking any sort of damage, I just absolutely obliterate through that player. However, Touch Me Please is a stronger player, and you're going to actually see the benefit of that Shroom Shield, because that Shroom Shield actually is going to buy me enough time, so when my ARROWGOD actual auto attacks start going, you're going to see I win over the long run, right? So you can see my clone's dead, I've got nothing up, but because I have that Shroom Shield up, I actually had a higher HP bar compared to him when we start going at it, and look at that. We win the fight all because of the Shroom Shields. We'll do it again just to showcase the difference. You're going to see his HP bar drop a little bit. So look at that. He's already lost around 5 to 10% of that little HP bar before we're even going at it. And that is the power of running a Shroom Shield and not running the Shroom Shield, right? So you need to think of it like this. If you're trying to mid-max, get as far up in the pecking order, how you can benefit in the early game. Because the one thing when it comes to, obviously, cross server or PvP in arena, there's no skill delay. So you need to try and think of the best skills that can all run at once and give you the most damage and obviously the most sustainability to excel. So what we're going to do is just run random challenge. I'm not going to have any power in here, and as this is going to go on, I am going to talk about some of the matchups, right? Because there is the warriors and obviously the mages and archers, right? So when we're going into here, if we're going against a mage or an arrow god, normally it's always down to, I would say, your stats, right? If you feel you have better stats than your opponent, especially if you're an arrow god, or if you're, you know, against the mage, you should normally always win. So whoever's got the better stats, you can see here, look, this mage guy definitely had the better stats on that skill crit on a rotation. He is going to beat me, right? And that might be just down to my gear. Maybe I just need to get some better gear, stat prioritize a little bit stronger, which is fair enough on my part. But when you're going against a, you know, a warmonger, the boys that counter-strike 24/7, like this guy here, the way you can beat them, and I obviously don't beat them at the moment, the way you can beat them in a 50-50 battle generally is down to your core stats, right? So that's kind of a good little showcase they're showcasing. Look, for me at the moment, I'm getting absolutely obliterated by different warriors, or should we say berserkers, warbongers, you name it, the Counter-Strike boys. The way you generally want to try and beat them, and from what I've read in the comments from higher power players, so big shout out to you guys giving that advice, giving us some instructions. I do read and listen to your comments. The way you're going to be able to beat them is through your stats, right? So at the moment, my combo rate is at 78.34 and a crit rate of 59.35%. Obviously, I've achieved this through my current gear that I've got, even though I've still got to get one more gear upgraded into, you know, combo and a crit rate, hopefully for my, you know, Aurora's gear. We're also running the crit rate on the relic, so you can see we're doing as much crit rate as we can. And even when it comes to PAL, I do have the crit rate even increased by Bennett, right? So there's a lot of crit rate coming into this fight and coming into, you know, trying to increase it as much. And that is how you actually beat warriors. The way I have read from a lot of players is you need to match the, you know, the Warriors Counter-Strike almost, or if not, beat it. So if they have an 80%, you know, Counter-Strike, you really do need that 95%, 90+% combo. What you aim to do with your gear, which I've seen, is to get 100% combo and then get your crit rate all the way up to around 70%. If you're able to do that, that might be down to obviously spending in game and getting certain pals or certain different mounts in order to achieve that. But that is what's going to make the difference. It's honestly down to your stat management on if you're going to beat specific classes in PvP. So hopefully I've explained that really well. Those are my current stats. You can see that I am still working on as a PvP guy. Obviously they're good, they're not the insane, but they are good, right, for where I'm at. My crit damage multiplier could be better, and that is easily improved on with your prayer statue. So what we're going to do is just briefly talk about the prayer statue, what you want to be doing, and as you can see, I am trying to roll this one at the moment. So it gives you triple combo and 2 crit damage bonuses. That's all you honestly want when you're running ARROWGOD. Just run triple combo with double crit. You are good to go. If you honestly feel like it, I know some people have been trying to experiment this. I know mathematically from all the different guides I've checked out, it isn't better. But if you need to, you could run 3 critical damage mods and then 2 combo mods. So just flip the 3 and the 2 around depending on your preference. But you are going to run crit damage bonus and you're going to be able to go in for the global combo damage bonus. So here, all you're going to be doing is obviously re-rolling all the way until you can find something like the crit damage bonus. But I obviously want a SS or triple S ranking if I'm able to get this, because obviously That's all I'm looking for. At the moment, we landed on a S rank, which isn't too bad instead of the boss damage, so that obviously helps me out. But those are the price stats you're going to need. If you're wondering about your pals when it comes into the fight, I would honestly run your best DPS pals, right? So whatever you've got as your best DPS pals, these are the ones I currently run, which is the Banana, Hydra Sprite, the Easter Bunny with the Octopus and Treasure Dragon. You could obviously change some of these if you don't own them, right? So if you don't own the Banana or if you don't own the Easter Bunny, you could change either of those for the deer. The deer is really, really good to actually reduce the amount of damage taken. If you don't own the tortoise is actually a good defensive pet because it gives you that nice little small shield, which is going to help you in PvP fights. Again, you can also run Hero Bird. Hero Bird is going to give you 15% extra attack speed. This is actually really underrated and really, really powerful comparatively to the chicken or even the cactus, right? So that's why I would run those 3 different pets. So the bird, the deer, or the tortoise. You could run those 3 instead of obviously the bunny or the banana split if you choose to. And if you really don't like the Hydra Sprite like I do, you could even swap out the Hydra Sprite for one of those, right? So I've given you guys all the information you need there for the pals. It's really, really simple. These are the ones I honestly run all the time now because it was my cross-server one and it just operates the best when it comes into my terms of damage. And with that, we have honestly gone over pretty much all the information you need for PvP. It's all down to your skills. It's all down to your stats, mainly on who you're going to win and who you're going to lose to, right? So hopefully I've explained it. That is me being an ARROWGOD main. If you're a sniper player, pretty much this all is the exact same. You go for pretty much the exact identical build from what I've been told. So just follow this through. Maybe aim to get crit chance higher first, then work on the combo afterwards. That would probably benefit the sniper more. But both classes have obviously their pros and cons on the PvP ladder. So with all of that said, smash a like, comment, and subscribe. My name is MrSneakyy, the one and only. And with that said, if you are using Aptoid, once again, use the code MrSneakyy, all in one word. All the links, all that information is in the description if you want to check it out. Even my Discord is there if you want to join the Discord and try and build up a brand new community within my current one, which is there. So with all of that said, stay safe, guys. Stay sneaky. Peace out.